was the truth. And it was the truth, period. And everybody knew it. And if you didn't know it, I'm sure that you had a feeling. He had 2 parting gifts, and he has 2 parting gifts. He has more than anybody in here already, period. And he fucking packed one of his own bags that week. End of story.
Yeah, I know.
So he did his own thing. He paraded around here, and that last week with the vote, where he kept Eric, he was just a smug son of a bitch. And if we weren't in here, I kid you not, I would have went up and clocked him. If he had called my daughter a skank outside of here, I would have seriously beat the living shit out of that guy. And I'm not kidding you. He pulled a lot of shit, and he was just a fucking asshole to Danielle. And she never did anything to him.
I know. I used to tell him all the time. I know.
Oh, here comes America's sweetheart.
I didn't hear that
All of this shit. He would
stuff.
never do it when I was around. Never do it when I was around. He would always do it behind my back. Like when she would come inside to pee or whatever, when we were outside talking, anything. It was always situations like that. And you know what? Sorry,
So
but...
are you saying that... Because, see, now I'm going back over the Eric thing. Are you saying that... You said some. So are you saying 50% Eric, 50% Dust at this point?
No, I don't know percentage-wise. I don't
Just
know
some
all
and
the
some.
ins and outs
Yeah.
of exactly what the deal was. But Dustin had... Remember I said Eric had something with Kale? It wasn't. It was Dustin.
It was Dustin.
It was
well,
Dustin.
I mean, that wasn't hard to believe, that part. But the Kale thing and Eric, that was a little
That's
difficult
why,
to
because
swallow.
it wasn't Eric. It was
Right,
Dustin.
yeah.
And Jen was a big part of a lot of disinformation. So, whatever. I don't know. I told Amber that I knew I was going home this week. Period. End of story. And I was good with it. I was fine with it. Seriously. I had no problem with it. Danielle would be staying. Cool. Right on. And after I won the POV, I knew right then and there that Danielle was coming off. And then I started thinking if there was the impossibility of me staying. And once Dustin went up, I seriously was in the backyard. You'll see the tape. I was in the backyard doing happy dance. And I'm not kidding. You're going to laugh when you see it, but I was. And I was like, if there was anybody here that I would want to be up against, if I could pick anyone to be up against on the block, it would be Dustin. So that gave me a ray of hope. And then I just talked to some people, worked some things out, and I wasn't going to roll over and die. I want to be here, and I would, look, I had to align with Kale and Jen to try to get Eric out of here, and I did what I needed to do. I promised Danielle that I would trust her after the Nick thing, where she was really upset with me for not trusting her on that, where it ended up that she was right and I was wrong and you were wrong. And that was one person that should not have went out of this house. Period. End of story. But on the other hand of that, Nick was dabbling on both sides, and that's what made him even look guiltier. With Nick's goodbye speech, gave me speech, I knew that he was telling the truth. And that's told you, I almost changed my vote. And I should have. But I didn't. Because of why?
The group.
Because of
The group.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the group.
The group. Now, with all of
Even
this,
so, with
how could
Danielle, the
everybody
group.
turn on me on a fucking dime when I'm trying to show the group something else that's going on?
That's how I felt when everyone turned on me about Nick, thinking that I...
Nobody turned on you. Nobody ostracized you. Nobody put you on the block the next week. Nobody was trying to get you out.
But everybody thought that I had something to do with getting Nick out of here. Everyone was like looking at me, and I'm like, dude, I fucking didn't, what the hell? I didn't do anything. Why is everyone looking at me like that?
And what happened? We talked to you, and everything was cool, right?
I know, I'm just saying it was, everything
I
was
know, but it
turned
was a
around
lot.
on me.
No. Nobody put you on the same side as Jen and Kale and everybody else outside the group, which is what happened to me and Danielle. And that was fucked up. And nobody came and talked to us or nothing. And after the HOH and everything, everybody's like, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. And it was just like, all right, man, it is what it is. It's on. Deal with the situation as it comes. And I did. And after winning the POV, I had an idea. I had a plan that was a long shot. But I talked to some people, and it worked. And I'm still here, and Dustin's gone. And it is what it is. Sorry, Dustin, but you fucked up. I still can't believe, honestly, I cannot believe that I'm not in a hotel somewhere right now, getting ready to go see Julie Chen at 6 o'clock in the morning somewhere. But I'm glad.
And that's still not. I mean, obviously, the whole thing that 1 week with the veto competition, that was big. But it's just all the other stuff, like that's kind of personal stuff, like with the
Danielle, with that veto
stuff.
competition, Danielle was extremely uneasy on letting anyone know anything. If the veto was not going to be used, why should she expose all of this and take the chance on everyone flipping on both me and her? It was way too risky for us to bring that out at that time, because look at what happened after the fact.
Yeah, but I want you to be clear on the fact that I wrote down what I wrote down. It's not anything directed towards anybody else other than myself.
Let's take that veto competition, by the way.
Yeah.
Where was Dustin out?
The first question.
The bunny suit. Give me a fucking break.
The first question.
Yeah.
The very
I yelled at him
first
for that.
question.
I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you also yelled at him for taking the money and taking the trip. Dustin buried himself. And there was a lot of people in this house that did not trust Dustin, period, end of story. Let me tell you, people trusted me more than Dustin. And even all the shit that I talked and everything else, 98% of America, their jaws dropped into their fucking lap tonight. Period. Nobody.
But maybe not so, ED, if they can see everything that's going on, whereas
No,
we
if they
can't.
played all
So
of that
maybe-
stuff on the show.
Yeah.
And even coming up to the vote, I didn't know if I was going to stay. I honestly didn't know if I was being bullshitted like I was last week or not.
Right.
So Danielle said I gave it a 50-50 shot. I'm like, I thought more 75-25. But we saw how full of shit people could be last week, and that you never know. So was I nervous sitting there?
Hell
No,
yeah.
I
Well,
wasn't,
I don't know
because
why not.
I had already made my
That you were
mind that I was going home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what difference did I make?
Yeah.
What kind of, attack plan that I had, if it didn't work, who give a fuck? I'm out of here.
Right.
Well, it doesn't matter? No, I'm gone. So what's the difference?
Right.
I was going home, and if I would have went home tonight, I was ready to go home. I was, well, not home. I was ready to go
Yeah,
wherever the fuck they
right.
sent me.
Right.
You saw my speech. And if I didn't tell you guys, I'm serious. If there was a 100% chance of me going home tonight, my speech was going to be, you can all kiss my ass. I was going to drop my pants and show you my ass. That's what it was going to be. And they would probably flip out, and I'd probably be getting my stipend taken away from me for the fine from the FCC and everything else. And they're probably listening to me going, thank fucking God. And I promise I won't do that in the future. But
I don't know. I see the point, but it's like some of the things like I didn't see, for example, Danielle. So that wouldn't take me in a different way compared to you or
it was
her.
not a plan to get you to give up 5 HOHs. Nobody knew that was coming whatsoever.
I'm not saying that at
I
all.
found it, and I'm still perplexed by that, to be honest with you. When you
To
didn't,
keep the nominations the same.
but when you didn't bid the most for the bunny suit, you did not bid the most for the slop, and then you did bid the most for the HOHs. I seriously, for 2 weeks now, I'm sitting here going,
Well, for the money, I thought Kale or Jen. I'm thinking, which is why I asked those two questions. I
Jen
asked
keeps saying she
zero.
don't want the money.
I know.
Oh, you're talking about the end.
Yeah, and I said, well, what happens if they bet
Okay,
zero?
number
What
one-
happens if they bet,
number one,
the
Jen,
250?
She knows she has zero chance of winning this game. So she could have put down $10 billion if the prize was $10 billion, because ain't nobody going to fucking give it to her. Would you? Everybody wanted her out of here week one. So she's an idiot. The line that she said about the gardener and the maids is the epitome of what Jen is. You remember that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Give me a fucking break. So, and I told you, and I made it very clear to everyone, I gave her that slot pass. I told her the only reason, you guys fucking know. Would I have taken it from myself? No. I would have given it to Danielle, because Danielle does horrible on slop. And she kept saying, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. Give it to Jen. She put herself out for us last week, which was not putting herself out for fucking anybody last week, because she wanted